Jesus. Hey, y'all. Now, I ain't been on here in a minute or whatnot, but I think I come out here and share for those subscribers I have. There'll be a little bit more, especially going into next year. I was just sitting here. I ain't gonna say under the weather, but the setting when a storm are brewing or whatnot, and you're trying to prepare for the storm that's sure to come. That's how I am with my body. A lot of times I can tell when my body is trying to come down with something, and usually it be somewhat of a sinus infection. A lot of time because I talk a lot and sing a lot. But I've been drinking my tea. And pretty much I ain't nothing fancy about the tea. I just cut up some apples and some celery, and I throw a little bit of turmeric and ginger and bring it to a boil in my steeper, and I sip on that. And if somehow taste buds change constantly, every now and then I'll put a tablespoon of honey, natural honey, in it also. All right, but for you singers, it's always good to try and protect your vocal cords. I just came back from the doctor with my father, and he seems to have a mass on his vocal cords. And I saw it. Oh, now I ain't gonna post it because I don't think YouTube is gonna go for that. But we just have to stay prayed up. I'm believing in God that God gonna work that thing out. But back to what I came on here for. I was listening to Bible study, tonight at ABC. We dial with where I'm the praise team leader at. And the pastor, I came in on the back end of it because I just, got out my little ritual, getting in the hot tub and my candles and all that other stuff. But I called Lazy Lover. And he was saying that, there's a look. He didn't say it like I said. There's a look involved when you love someone. You want to hear from them. I made the comment, you want to consume every part of them. And I was thinking about that, and, he started talking about certain traits and things of that nature. We do stuff we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, compromising situations at times. We go and shake the hands of the people who we know don't like us. We go and help those that have done us wrong. We do certain things. And just being realistic, growing up when I wasn't advanced as I am in certain elements of holiness, I asked that question, Lord, why in the world I feel sorry for these people who have spitefully used me and done me wrong and things of that nature. And I was, it was just puzzling to me. And it came to me, God had been answered that. But then I was reminded when I was at Bible study, God told me it's a trait of the Father. If you love your Father, you want to be like your Father. And certain things that your Father do, you find yourself doing the same thing. And it's not a thing of trying. You do. God bared the cross uncomfortable. He fed 10,000, with 5 loaves of bread and all that other stuff, uncomfortable. He had to deal with folk, uncomfortable. I ain't going to do no Bible scripture or studying that like that. But you all get the point. Jesus, the Father, put himself in compromising situations to love. us because he loved us. And a lot of times when we get saved and whatnot, we find ourselves doing the same thing. We ain't trying to do it. It's just one of those elements of love. You know, it's easy to push away foolishness in order to settle on the point. You know, God say love. He didn't say love because they did this, or love if this is going on or that is going on. He said love. And that's what, you know, the world portrays as unconditional love. And I tell people, love don't even make sense. If you try to make sense of love, you look crazy trying to make sense out of it. You know, love is just as well as bringing flowers and stuff like that to your wife or husband, and giving them a kiss on the jaw. But love is also, you know, that parent showing up in prison after their child done murdered 12 folks. You know, love a lot of times is the reason why a lot of women are staying abusive or relationships. We don't understand it, but who understands love? That's what love is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I saw a movie a long time ago. They were doing something about biting. I think Jamie Foxx was in it or whatnot, and they was talking about love or whatever the case may be, and they contributed a bite, you know, to that of love, because love is crazy. You know, you got to be really crazy to be able to love anything. Anyone. And I sure enough thank God for that Bible study. You know, I like Pastor Cash, because Steinway Cash, because he thinks out of the box. And it's not just a box of worldly, carnal minded situations, but he thinks out of the box. But that box is still, that area is still in holiness. That area is still in faith walk. That thing is still spiritual. You hear what I say? You know, so a lot of times, especially with dealing with churches or whatnot, we'll box ourselves in. Oh, we can only get a healing from the church house. You know, we can only, you know, as far as get saved in the church building with the, you know, the bells, church bells or whatnot. You know, but then at the same time, we won't come out our mouth, God is everywhere. So if God is everywhere, you can get saved in the bathtub, all right, at the Motel 6 over in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You know, you can get a revelation from God, and you over in Russia visiting auntie or what have you that's in the military, and you at a service station. You can get a revelation. You can hear God. And you sitting on the toilet down in South Georgia or whatnot, and trying to get some money to get home. Come on, somebody. God is everywhere. And a lot of times we'll box God in. Oh, God can only heal me over here. You know, and we know the truth. This ain't no newfound thing. We know the truth or whatnot. But even with knowing the truth, a lot of times our mind is geared towards our surrounding. I often tell younger counterparts, boy, you're a product of your environment. You know the truth, but at the same time, you're going to go where the wind is blowing, you know, because wherever that your environment is at, if the wind is blowing ungodly things, that's where you're going to go. All right. And that's why the Bible says, choose this day whom you're going to serve. You know, and that's talking about serving. But when you come down to the love of things or whatnot, certain things like that become easy because you really actually truly love God. You just don't get by with, I believe there's a God. And then that belief don't go no farther than you can jump. You know, because when things go wrong, whatnot, you do everything under the sun to try to bring a correction to that or make matters worse, you know, because some folk ain't looking for correction. They just want to make matters worse or whatnot because I got to be myself and all this other stuff. You know, we'll do all of this before we come to the conclusion that only God can do that. But then mentally now, when they get to that conclusion, they pretty much done get it, but I don't care what happened. I can't do nothing now. What if you put God first or whatnot, and that'll change your whole perception on the matter? In other words, I know this is going to be taken care of. That's why I gave it to God. All right, I'm still doing this, that, and the other, but that's only because God told me to go this route and that route. Why? Because you're hearing direction from God. So, like I said, loving God, not just belief. All right, loving God, it matters, and it's very important. And I tell people I had to die to myself in order to consume and understand this. All right. Your belief ain't worth two dead flies. Because we believe in a whole lot of things that's not godly. How we believe? Because our actions. We worship a whole lot of stuff too. We ain't going to admit to it, but at the same time, loving God is important. And like the pastor said, that we have become lazy lovers. So lazy lovers. And a lot of times we speak to the ones that know better. We talking about the new saints or whatever the case may be, that, they're just trying to get them in the dough, child, because they was on their way to hell, bless their heart. But we talking about the seasoned saints that know, faith walk. They know how to pray. They know how to seek God. They know what it means to worship and things of that nature. They know this. But yet and still they have fall short on loving God. I'm Ella Clark, y'all. Hold up, let's put some God in it. And that needs to be in every waking moment of your life. Not because I say so, but because you say you love God. God bless you. And I'll talk to y'all soon.